scones or Scotch pancakes from this lovely book, Ritz Afternoon Tea. This book, I have my note here, is from 1986, and I just love the cute little quaint drawings in it. So we'll be making these. These are like a little tiny pancake, so I'm excited to try those. Let me know if you've ever had drop scones or made them. I have seen this recipe time and time again and have never made them, so today's the day. So also we are going to be making some herb flavored honey from this other book, from the Charms of Tea from Victoria magazine. And you can either use fresh herbs like lavender, mint, thyme, or rosemary. I have a little bit of dried lavender there from my garden from last year, so I'm going to be using that. So we're going to start on the honey first, and then we're going to move on to the pancakes. So what I have over here, I have a smaller amount of honey than what is called for because I just want to make a small amount. So I have a half cup of honey here. It's unflavored, of course. So I'm going to get that into a small saucepan here. Let me know if you like honey or maple syrup. They're both delicious. And I love to grow herbs in the garden. I'm really into herbs, flowers, and fruit. Those are my favorite things to grow. So I have a lot of berries, some apples, a lot of different herbs. I bought a new kind of mint this year and even some dill that I'm excited to try growing. So I will show you a couple things. So this is the dried lavender that I have from my garden. So there's probably 2 or 3 teaspoons, which might be quite a bit, but I just wanted to flavor it up a lot. Welcome. I see there's a couple people here, so please say hi in the chat. And this is my jar. There's a few rose petals in here that I remembered to dry from the garden as well as my lavender. So I like to keep this on hand for projects like this. Um, so we have a clean jar here for our flavored honey. So I see more people. Welcome in. We are making flavored honey first. So I have this about half cup of honey in this saucepan, and we're just going to get this a little bit warmed up. And this is a super easy recipe because all you do is either put your fresh or dried herbs in the bottom of a clean jar. I just cleaned this with soap and water, soap and hot water. So we put those in the bottom. We're going to heat the honey up. And then we will pour it in there and we've got to let it sit for a couple days. So I need to clean this, but I want to get this out so that we can put this on our jar later. So let me know in the comments down below if you have made any flavored honey or if you've made drop scones. So these books are from both the 1980s and the 1990s. So we're going to get this on the stove over here, just on like a medium heat. I'm going to wash this up just a tiny bit so we can use it on our jar. Here we go. And that will be good to go. So I'm going to set a timer for 4 minutes so I can come back and check that because I don't want that to get too hot and bubble over. Okay, so moving on to our drop scone. Oh, I see some people. Hey, Suzanne, thank you for joining. I'm so glad you could be here today. And let me turn my mic back on because it went off. I'm sorry about that. And hello to everyone. So we have the drop scones or Scotch pancakes here. This is super, super easy, not a lot of ingredients. So we have a cup and a half of all-purpose flour. I have this bowl for our dry ingredients and this one for the wet ingredients. So we're going to put that flour in here. Let's get all that in there. And then we have baking soda. So a half teaspoon of that in there. I love how quick these scones are to make. Then we have cream of tartar, which is not an ingredient I use that often, but that goes in there. And then we have a half teaspoon of salt. So let me know if you love tea time and scones. I make so many scones every week at the tea house at work on the weekends. I make kind of hotel style ones that are round. Those are really popular. Let me know what flavors of scones you like best. So I just use this whisk to whisk up the dry ingredients here. And then I'm going to get these out of the way, make it simpler. And okay, that honey is heating up well. So we have another bowl for our wet ingredients. So we're going to mix up 1.5 cups of milk in here. We have 1 egg. There we go. And then a tablespoon of sugar. So these are not super sweet, which is nice. So I'm going to borrow this whisk over here and whisk this up. It wants us to mix those up separately first. Alrighty, this looks good. Let me know what you like to spread on your scones. Do you like clotted cream? Do you like jam? Lemon curd? I like all of them. Maybe not all at once, but I'm usually cream first and then jam. I know some people like the opposite. They're both delicious, but I feel like it spreads on better that way. So, all right, we've got both of those mixed up here. All right, so we are supposed to stir the liquid into the flour just a little bit at a time until you have a thick batter. That's what it says. So let's be slow about this. And we're going to need to check that honey again. Thank you all for sticking with me through this recipe. Let's see how we're doing here. All right. So I actually think just 3 or 4 minutes and this honey looks pretty good. So we are going to do a really quick operation here before we finish up our drop scone batter. We're going to pour this honey into this jar, just like that. And I'm going to read the instructions from that book to see what we need to do here, but I think we'll just let it sit. All right, so here's the book from 1991 that we're using for the honey. So let's see. Okay, so we're gonna let it cool to room temperature and then we're gonna let it and cover it for a day or two, and that will let the flavors melt. All right, and if you didn't see this before, this is a Charms of Tea by Victoria Magazine. I remember making a whole tea party recipe, or using a lot of these recipes for tea parties. It's one of my very favorite books. And then for the Scotch pancakes or drop scones, we have the Ritz afternoon tea book. Let me know if you have any tea books or if you have these books. So I'm just going to set this aside, and it smells amazing. I don't know if you like lavender flavored things, but it smells great. Okay, so we're going to continue adding a bit of the liquid to this drop scone mixture to make our thick batter. And over here I have my electric skillet. And I have my handy bit of butter that I'm going to be using to grease it with. And I don't like to turn that on until my batter is ready, just because I don't want it to be heating for too long. All right. So this is getting nice and thick. If you can see, this is the batter. So, yes. Let me know if you like afternoon tea, if you've gone out anywhere to afternoon tea. I work at a tea house, so that's what we serve every weekend with the little sandwiches and the scones and spreads and the little desserts. So I get to make all the sweet things, which is fun. All right, so we're kind of slowly slowly mixing this in for the thick batter. And I have, it says to drop it with a dessert spoon, so I'm using kind of a big soup spoon here. If you like tea, let me know what your favorite kind of tea is. I like a lot of black teas, Ceylon, English breakfast. There's a fermented one called Pu'er, a Chinese one that I love. I like Earl Grey. I also do like green and oolong and white teas, but just not quite as much as the black teas. Okay, we are almost ready with this batter. Thank you for sticking with me. I appreciate it. All right, let me just mix this a tiny bit more and we should be ready. And this batter looks really nice. It's a lot like a pancake batter, which it pretty much is. All right, so I'm going to move this to the side. I'm going to use my handy, oops, I forgot to turn off the stove there. Handy towel to clean this up a little bit. All right, so let's get our electric skillet going. So it has the dial on the side. I'm going to have it to about, I think usually, oops, I'm sorry, I turned off the light there on the camera. I need to unplug another thing. So let me plug that back in and plug in the electric skillet. Sorry about that. Okay, now we will get our light back. Okay, that's better. All right, I've got the batter here. I've got my dessert spoon. Let's put about a tablespoon here of butter into that skillet. And I'm going to get this scooched over a little bit so you can see. There we are. That's better. And I've got a spatula to get the little pancakes. I've got a nice platter. We can put them on, and it says to cover with a cloth napkin. So I even have that. We've got to be all official here. So let's get that heating up. So I have to say that one of my very favorite books is this one. I wanted to show you a few more things while we're waiting for this to heat up. Um, so it has various sections. It goes through a little bit of tea history here, which is a lot of fun. Sandwiches and savory dishes. Let me know if you love tea sandwiches. The special egg sandwiches are some of my favorites. You make your own homemade mayonnaise, which is awesome, and deviled ham toast, all kinds of fun stuff. And then there's even a winter tea section, which is actually where these drop scones come in. We've got cakes, which are a different style. The English cakes don't tend to have frosting on them. They're just nice flavored cakes to go with the tea. So we of course have the Victoria sandwich, which is my favorite with the jam in the middle and the cream, which is kind of like a giant scone. So that's yummy. And then we have a summer section back there. We have gingerbread. There's some cookies, a lot of yummy things. So, oops, this is still heating up. Okay, I don't think I had that pressed in. That's why it's not heating up properly. Oops, oops. So now we have time to go through this book because we're waiting a little bit longer. Sorry about that. Um, so this one I absolutely love. I don't know if you've ever seen Victoria magazine, but it is so pretty. And those are just some notes I had in there. It has a lot of color photos in this one. Um, so it has social tea. So there's a lot of things before the recipes. It shows a lot of pictures. Welcome, everyone. Please say hi. We're going through this tea book before we get ready to make our drop scones here on the skillet, which I'm heating up. Let me know if you love afternoon tea and tea sandwiches. Here we have some pretty ones. A beautiful cup of tea with a rose in it. And my favorite part, the recipes. Yay. Okay, so I also love menus. We even have some flavored tea recipes, vanilla milk tea, lover's tea, mint tea. Those are all so good. Lavender and lime, strawberry, so many flavors. And this is just in time because our skillet is ready for the drop scones. All right. So it says to drop this by a dessert spoonful, kind of like this. So I'm going to make several in here because there's lots of room. Let me know if you have an electric skillet at home and if you like to use it. I would love to know that. So let's get these in here. I just love that you can control the temperature better in these types of skillets rather than on the stove. It's a lot easier. And so what we're looking for is kind of dry around the edges and bubbles in the middle, kind of like any type of pancake. Raise your hand if you love pancakes, if you like making them. And I'm just so excited to have you all here. So much fun. And yeah, I'm excited that I've finally decided to try this recipe. How many of you collect cookbooks and maybe just love to peruse them, but often don't use the recipes? Well, I am super happy to have this channel because it gives me a chance to share these recipes, not only for myself and my family, but to share them with all of you in the hopes that you will try them soon. So as soon as this live is uploaded, I will of course share these recipes on there. I always have my recipes in the description down below. A lot of times these lives take a while to process, so I will do that as soon as I can. And I will be recording a longer video tomorrow, which is dinner recipes. So I'm excited to do that. Woo! We have our first pancake flip, and it is so cute. These are really adorable. I can't wait to show you what they look like, but they are fabulous. Here we are. Okay, there we are. Okay, so I think you can see how golden brown they are. They are just lovely. I'm so excited to try them. Over here, I have a little plate and some butter to try them. Because let me read this to you. It says, serve them well buttered and as soon as possible. A waiting audience is best. So I hope you will try these and definitely have a lot of fresh butter. Ooh, this is done. Look how cute and beautiful this is. I love it. So I'm going to put them on my platter here. Let's get all of these here and we can keep making batches. I will have to enjoy one of these, and especially with a cup of tea later. Some of them are bigger than others. It's okay if they're different sizes. Cute. I want to show you what they all look like together. Ooh, look at that. Lovely, lovely. So we're supposed to cover this with our cute little cloth napkin. Looks like a magic trick. So they're all covered and staying nice and hot. So I'm going to bake one more batch here on the live and see if anyone joins or has any questions. Are there any questions you would like to ask? And I will definitely finish making these so my family can try some as well. Let me know if you like making um, breakfast or breakfast for dinner or brunch. It's one of my favorite meals. All right, so these are lovely. And let's feel how the honey is coming along. It's still kind of warm. Oh, but it's already smelling like lavender. That's so nice. That's going to be great tomorrow with some of these if we reheat them, have them with the lavender honey, or maybe a couple days from now. That sounds amazing. So good. Yes, I'm excited to. I used to have tea parties every year. And now that I work weekends, it's a little bit harder, but I would absolutely love to have a tea party this summer or this fall. I'm going to see how I can do that and use a lot of the recipes from here, which is a lot of fun. A lot of times I tend to do quiche or other dishes rather than sandwiches for tea because when you're having a group, sometimes those dry out quickly. There are ways to keep them from drying out, but sometimes it's harder to make a lot of sandwiches. Oops, that one folded over a little bit. That's okay. All right. I think these are just about done. So I'm going to say thank you for joining me. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you. And I will see you on Friday for my video. And thank you for joining me live. Bye.